corre, 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 corre.
Americans are still stuck in Mexico. Luxury vacations turned into real-life action movies. This weekend, Mexican forces, backed by U.S. intelligence, killed the country's most wanted cartel boss, a guy named Mencho. He led what is called the New Generation Cartel. They traffic meth, cocaine, and fentanyl. They're also known to murder their opposition in the most sinister fashions, beheadings, putting them in acid tanks, stuff like that. The cartel took revenge. They attacked areas packed with American tourists and set off car bombs. The streets of Guadalajara burned. Armed cartel members set cars and buildings on fire. The U.S. Embassy says Americans in Mexico should settle in place. Puerto Vallarta, smoke from the gunfights rose behind cruise ships, and cartel gunmen cut off the highway from Cancun's beaches to the airport. With us now, former director of DEA Special Operations, Derek Maltz, Congressman Chip Roy of Texas. Gents, good to see both of you. I want to start with you, Derek. Who controls Mexico, really? The cartels or the government and the military?
Well, in my opinion, based on the years of the cartel operations and the domination, I would say the cartels have a significant, hold over the government. I think the current government with President Sheinbaum has stepped up the game, and they've done tremendous work. I mean, I was at Dulles Airport when they brought in the first batch of the 29 very high-level cartel operatives, including Los Zetas leaders, Z40 and Z42, and Mencho's brother. And now they've brought in 92 total. So they're doing tremendous work inside the country. I've listened to my sources on the ground. They're going after the labs. They're taking down the drugs, the assets, the weapons. So they're making progress, but there's a long way to go. This has been, going on for so many years. Enough is enough.
Congressman Roy, the letting the cartels go and sort of allowing them to operate in return for allowing the government to operate and to have the tourist districts and everything else, the détente between the two, is no way to run a country. We've been saying now for a couple of years on this program that it's time to treat the cartels like terrorist organizations. Does that mean it's time for the U.S. military to get involved?
Well, first of all, great to be on with Derek, good friend who's done so much in this fight against the cartels and exposing it. And when I came to Congress 7 years ago, one of the very first pieces of legislation that I introduced was a bill to designate cartels as terrorist organizations. Now, Derek will remember we had a big fight on our hands. A bunch of Republicans said, no, that's too far. I mean, they're not the same as ISIS. That's different. We got to treat them like, criminal issues. Guys, this is what's going on. And now you're seeing it in full force going on in Mexico. I have constituents, people who live not far from me, who are in Mexico right now, near Puerto Vallarta, who had their car torched, who are having to figure out how to get back to this country. I'm not going to say their names and not get into too much detail because we need to get them home safely. But we've got many Americans stuck over there. It's about time that we recognize what's actually going on. And the president did, by the way. The president a year ago designated them as cartel organizations. He was right to do so. Yes, we should use the military where appropriate. Man, one of the biggest legacies the president can leave is to reestablish the Western Hemisphere as America's hemisphere and establish the rule of law to ensure that we have safety and security, because without the rule of law, you've got nothing. And I think the president's trying to do that. Congress needs to support him.
Derek, is it possible to do that without putting U.S. troops either on the ground or in the air over Mexico to do this? Can the Mexicans regain control?
Well, look, I'm not a military planning expert, but I watched the Maduro operation, and I was a proud American that day because it was absolutely flawlessly done with the technology they have, the training, the expertise, and the commitment to the U.S. national security. I think a lot can be done. There's some unbelievable technology with the drones. I've been calling, like Congressman Roy said, we were in this battle together. All these beltway bureaucrats.
Derek, forgive me for interrupting you here, though. These cartels are huge. Give us a thumbnail of how big the armies of these cartels is, and then I have something for the congressman.
I mean, just look at the weapon systems they have. RPGs, they're dropping C4 explosives with the drones. These guys are like a little army. So they need to be treated like terrorists. They devastated our country. I got dead kids all on my wall. I got babies on the wall. They've been poisoned to death. So they need to be treated as terrorists. Thank God President Trump came in when he did to declare them as terrorists, designating fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction.
declaring them as terrorist organizations is one thing. Going after them as terrorists is a different thing. And this is the question for the congressman. Mexico can only do so much. And yeah, the Maduro raid was unbelievable, and it was an amazing feat of military planning and execution. It took months to plan with intelligence assets and then Delta Force practicing for weeks, if not months, and then executing it. You can't do that against tens of thousands of cartel gunmen and the lieutenants and the captains throughout all of the cartel organization. It's going to take a sustained military campaign by the United States to be willing to dismantle these cartels. That's not something that the U.S. Population seems all that interested in, which is a prolonged war in Mexico.
Well, look, there are a lot of alternatives besides prolonged war. I mean, look, I've been a very outspoken advocate against the endless wars that we had in the Middle East on the other side of the globe for the last 25 years, which, by the way, we said, let's go fight them over here so they don't come here. And meanwhile, we have an Islamic invasion on our own soil. Different topic for a different day. But right now, we can cut off money supplies. We can stop the flow of dollars back to Mexico and all the remittances. We can have military assets taking out core operations and knocking the knees out from under some of these bosses. We can put pressure on Mexico through tariffs to do the right thing. We can stop the flow across our border by securing the border, both through fencing and, by the way, passing H.R. 2, stopping the asylum and parole abuses. There are a lot of things we can do to go on offense. And yes, that includes involving the military. We don't have to invade Mexico, but they need to know that the cartels are not going to get away with killing Americans, because I'm tired of seeing dead Americans from fentanyl and from dangerous cartels.
These are way different standards, though. And Cuomo pointed out at the end of his show, I thought it was a great point. We were going to make the same one. World Cup is going to be in Mexico. That gives the cartels the rioters' veto, whatever you want to call it, the terrorist veto, over what happens in those games. And Derek, I'll give you the last 30 seconds. Is what the congressman just laid out enough to take down 50, 100,000 cartel gunmen who don't care about dying, and they realize that they may be able to become a kingpin?
Well, I don't know if it's enough, because it is a little army. They are very, very ruthless terrorists. But I think that the strategic plan that this president, working with President Sheinbaum, is putting together is actually going to decimate them over time. We can't prevent anything they're going to do at these particular, the World Cup or any of these events. We're going to try to do the best. If they welcome the U.S. military in there, they'll be way better off than what's going on right now, because we have the best and brightest out there. So thank you.
Boy, yeah, I wonder what happens if all of a sudden one of these cartels takes over a tourist hotel and starts holding people hostage. Derek Maltz, Chip Roy, thank you both very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.